What have you enjoyed most about working in the paper industry?
Yeah, thank you first and foremost for inviting me. So yeah, this industry number one is incredible. The first thing I would say is people. I mean, by far, people are the heartbeat of this industry. I was just at an event yesterday, a industry event, and it's just another reminder of how people really drive it. The folks in the industry are, always heartfelt. I mean, just warm, welcoming, and then obviously I was new in the industry at one point, so just the camaraderie, the welcoming with open arms, and this industry is it's incredibly welcoming to newer folks. So that's one thing that's brought me great joy in working in the paper industry. The other thing as well is just the ability to see your end product, right? To see your paper as an end product and being used and I mean that brings me joy as well. You can actually see what you're doing, in the business that you're managing. You can actually see it making a difference in the world. And then finally, I would say sustainability. Obviously that's a big driver for paper companies, right? Is sustainability, and obviously as we look to assist our customers and our end users, accomplish their branding initiatives, sustainability is becoming more and more important. So that's another key thing that really, um, really allows me to have a lot of great pride within the industry.
Absolutely. And what continues to inspire you in your own career?
Yeah, so I will tell you, there is a lot of really great leaders within this industry. So just looking across the aisle, I mean, there's a lot of great leaders within our merchant partner community. There's a lot within the mills, even competitive mills. There's a lot of great leaders. So I would say first and foremost, a lot of the leaders that I've engaged with, I've learned their story and read about kind of what they were able to what impact they were able to give back to the industry. That first and foremost allow me to say, this is doable. This industry is welcoming. This industry, allows young professionals like myself to thrive, to work with colleagues, to work with competitors, just to work with other leaders in the industry and put our brains together to come up with some solutions. So I would say that is one area where I say, you know, I'm inspired and motivated to give it my all every day, and even find new solutions, new ways to doing things, and really coming up with just different ideas to share. And then the legacies, right? I mentioned it before. There's a lot of good stories, a lot of hearty stories, right, about the paper industries. Living in Wisconsin, this is the paper valley, right? So there's a lot of history being here, and just knowing about the legacy really sparked a huge interest for me to say, this is an industry that I can thrive, I can make a difference quickly, and hopefully develop more leaders as we go along.
Okay, and then how will paper packaging and wide format continue to evolve over the course of the next few decades?
Wow, I wish I could have that crystal ball. The last year was felt like a decade, but I will tell you, tactility is going to be something that's going to be here to stay. And what I mean by that is, uncoated paper, and for Neenah, that we specialize in premium uncoated paper, and also solving solutions for our biggest brands. But the biggest thing is we play in all of those spaces, packaging, paper, and of course wide format. It's important to talk about the future. And I feel that as the digital world becomes more and more advanced, obviously there's some concern with security around digital. People are starting to get a little bit digital fatigue. So those three things really allow the paper industry to really thrive. We talk about internally some of the ebbs and flows of demand, but make no mistake about it. As this digital age is starting to get more advanced, we are going to be here to ensure that, hey, paper, tried and true. It's been trusted for decades, for centuries, and we're still going to be here making it a huge wave. And also, if you think about some of the spaces we were able to really eclipse is pretty incredible. For Neenah, we actually launched our wide format division, probably 5 years ago, and it's grown. And part of that is because sustainability is so big now. Some of the largest brands that we're tracking, they really made a huge stride in their sustainability messaging and goals. So like I mentioned before, we're not only manufacturing paper and giving good ideas, but we're talking to brands. We're hearing their story as well, listening to how they want to make a difference in decades to come, and that's what's going to drive the entire industry. Is for us to listen more, to be more understanding of, hey, digital age is still making advancements. Folks are still wanting to replace plastics, and that's where paper companies have a huge opportunity to win.
What are some keys to nurturing the relationship between paper manufacturers and merchants?
Our trusted merchant partners. They are really the lifeline of our distribution model, right? So for Neenah, we rely on our merchants heavily, to number one, assist us and speed the market, but number two, to continue that relationship building, within each of our markets that we service together. So the first thing I would say is a key is obviously having sound partners in not only the companies but the leadership within those partners. So Neenah have some very long-standing relationships, built on trust, right? Built on trust and hearty values. Trustworthiness is one of those key words that we don't take lightly. So we trust our merchant partners to do their very best, right, in their markets, and they trust us as well to make sure we're delivering all of the resources that Neenah can deliver, for their own value as well. And the second thing is shared resources. So of course, we only have so many bodies, and that's why our distributors, our merchant partners, are so valuable to us. From the East Coast to the West Coast, they are incredibly valuable. So the more and more we can share resources, um, the better we are together, right? So, one question I ask my team is how can we make the lives of our merchant partners easier? And part of that is, of course, giving them all the tools that we have at our disposal as well. So, we are very committed, and excited to be fully transparent with our distributors, to give them the fighting edge, in the market, just like we give our sellers as well. So those are two things that we really pride ourselves on, when talking about our merchant partners.
How can professionals in the paper and commercial printing industry build a foundation to be better leaders?
Yeah, so this question, I love this question. This one, speaks a lot to me because I'm actually a young leader in the industry. So when I think of how we can become better professionals and grow a foundation, I think about idea sharing. So I'm a part of the young professionals, group, with the MPTA, and what's critical about this group is we're able to meet every 6 weeks and talk about these ideas, among competitors and, among suppliers, and obviously among our distributors. But it's really vital for us to continue this idea sharing, path. This is something that, again, if you go to these large industry events, everyone knows everyone, and there's so many years of experience within the room, and of course everyone's working with each other. The more and more we can share ideas on how to capitalize in a space that we may not have experience in, i.e., ag packaging, or i.e., other, large grand formats that we're all getting into now. The more and more we can talk about those opportunities, the better we will be, as an industry. And really, if you think about it, having these open lines of communication really builds the foundation. That's the first piece. I would say the second is, how do we, get additional groups, additional support networks to have these conversations. So we talk about the young professionals group. I think there could be a lot of other groups, within the paper business that we can, start to form and then start to have these meaningful conversations. I think one group would be, recruitment. How do we get young, fresh talent into the organizations, into the industry? No matter where it drops, right? I think it's important to keep this industry alive, and the first step to that is recruitment, and also telling a story. This is something, I'm extremely passionate about. in our young professionals meetings, we talk a lot about, the next wave. Obviously, I'm a part of that wave, but there's so much ground to cover. And we talk about this industry, lasting for decades to come. It's going to start with the next wave. And there's a lot of really great leaders that are probably reaching the end of the road as far as coming towards retirement. And I'm sure they're asking the same question: how will we get there? So, thinking about the foundations, it's going to start by having more open conversations, talking about different groups, right? Having maybe smaller conversations, but having big impacts. And recruitment is going to be at the heart of all of that. So that's what I feel is going to be, the beacon of hope for the next, call it, century for the paper industry.